This week on WestfordCAT News, heartbreak for student athletes. Business as usual at the food pantry for now.
We actually are seeing a slight increase. I will say that our levels are pretty comparable to where they've been over the last few months.
And WestfordCAT held a holiday auction and raised more than $2,000. I'm Joyce Polino Crane. Stay with us. WestfordCAT News is next. Did you help WestfordCAT bring home the bacon this week? The TV station held a holiday auction and raised more than $2,000 to help it with operational costs. A bid on item 184 helped support local news and also won you an appointment with Santa. Thank you all for your contributions. No basketball, no hockey at Westford Academy. Another reason to wish for the demise of COVID-19. An emotionally charged meeting sparked by Superintendent Bill Olson's recommendation to disallow hockey and basketball for students in an effort to prevent the virus from spreading weathered a string of commentators agreeing and disagreeing with Olson's position. But school committee members voted 4-3 to support his recommendation. At WA, Alpine and Nordic skiing will run as usual, benefiting from the outdoor venue. Gymnastics and aquatics will be virtual.
At the present time, and the plan is specifically for gymnastics and the aquatic sports to be run virtually. No teams will be mixing. Okay, they'll be at their respective sites and scored for gymnastics and the aquatic sports. We know that downhill and cross-country skiing will be conducted outside, right? Where conditions, I believe, are certainly safer than inside. The 48 responses that I just referred to a few minutes ago, of those 30 school systems are running virtually all winter sports, including those inside of hockey and basketball. Many with a caveat that if there is a positive case, the sport will immediately cease, and students, and if necessary, coaches will quarantine. 5 school systems said they will not be offering hockey and basketball, and 13 school systems are still in the process of trying to decide. All right. The decision I'm going to present to you tonight will please some and will not please everyone, however. My role, and one of the roles of the superintendent, is to be the custodian of the health and safety of students and staff.
I agree with Bill's recommendation based on the blossoming infection rate that we are seeing, and that we really are not going to have a lull until well into January because of the 2 holidays, Thanksgiving, which is now rippling in, and the results are coming in. I was on call this weekend in our office, and I can tell you the numbers next week will be much higher than they were last week. And then we're going to see a similar thing after the Christmas time period. So I think our community spread is going to continue.
First and foremost, I want to say that as an advocate for children in sports, it's with a very heavy heart that I agree with Bill's recommendation to not engage in those 2 higher risk sports that he noted. I do understand that that would be very disappointing and even devastating to some of the student athletes. I'd also like to point out that I'm also keenly aware of how this is affecting the mental health of children. And this is very much an epidemic within this pandemic.
I know that the MIA has laid out rules, and it is a super regulated season. It will be the same 15 girls every single day. And I know that our team, as long as the boys basketball team, they are willing to follow all the guidelines to a T. I know a bunch of the players have been practicing at Millworks. We've been wearing masks, and we've been ready to follow all the guidelines. We're ready to do whatever it takes to have this season.
Watch the entire school committee meeting on demand at WestfordCAT.org. And I wrote a longer version of the story for you, Westford. Find it at WestfordCatNews.org. More than a year after members approved the change, the Board of Selectmen, as of November 13th, is now officially the Select Board. In open forum at the December 7th board meeting, Chair Andrea Perriner-Sweet announced that the legislature and the governor had approved the town's request for a charter change, replacing the Board of Selectmen's title with Select Board.
It gives me great pleasure to announce that after more than a year, the legislature and the governor have finally signed off on our article from October of 2019 special town meeting, approving the changes to our charter to make it include inclusionary language, as was passed at our October 2019 special town meeting. So henceforth, we will be known as the Select Board. We are, and Town Hall has already started initiating changes to our stationery letterhead, the website, how we are referred to in documents, etc. It's not complete. Give them a couple of weeks to get it all done. If anybody sees anything or we miss anything, please just send an email to the town manager's office or to myself, and we'll get it fixed and we'll attend to it. I would also, I would be remiss if I do not publicly acknowledge and thank the League of Women Voters for all of their hard work on this project. It was under the League who basically took the lead in going through our charter, making the changes, finding all of the changes, and really shepherding this through and bringing it to completion. So thank you very much to the League of Women Voters.
Watch the entire Select Board's meeting at WestfordCAT.org. State Representatives James Arcero and Paul McMurtry Zoom chatted last week about McMurtry's bill, House 4045, to help community access TV stations increase their income as digital streaming providers such as Netflix and Hulu attract subscribers away from Comcast and Verizon. Community access stations are losing the income they depend upon to pay for operations and payroll. McMurtry's bill would require the streaming services to place a 5% legislative fee on digital streaming providers.
As the representative indicated, the evolution of technology and entertainment and delivery systems has continued to change, and it has an impact on the local access television in our communities. This will establish a 5% fee on digital streaming. This legislation puts a 5% fee on digital streaming providers, which use the public right away, already use it for free of charge.
Watch the entire Main Street interview on demand at WestfordCAT.org and visit WestfordCatNews.org for a longer version of this story. Governor Charlie Baker announced on December 8th that the Commonwealth will roll back to Phase 3, Step 1 of its reopening plan beginning December 13th. Here's Patty Stocker with more.
On December 8th, Governor Charlie Baker announced that due to the number of COVID-19 cases on the rise, all of the communities in the Commonwealth would roll back to Phase 3, Step 1 in the reopening plan for the state. Previously, only high-risk communities were regulated to Phase 3, Step 1. I spoke with Westford Health Director Jeff Stevens on December 9th regarding the updates to the COVID-19 shutdown and to learn more about the state's new guidelines.
The capacity has been reduced from 50% to 40% in several industry sectors, which includes arcades, indoor, outdoor recreational businesses, driving and flight schools, gyms and health clubs, libraries, museums, retail stores, offices, places of worship, lodging common areas, golf. Not sure how that works right now with the snow on the ground, but that's what it is. And movie theater.
There's some diehard golfers out there. You know it.
There sure are. I'm one of them, but I'm not playing right now either.
All right. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go on.
And movie theaters, not more than 50 people per theater. Additionally, restaurants have new protocols that they need to additionally follow, and that is wearing masks at all times when eating or drinking, and except when eating or drinking. And how that is different from what it currently is the current regulation lets you take your mask off or your face covering while you're at your table. Now you're going to be required to wear it the entire time at your table unless you are physically eating or drinking.
Stevens also detailed the 3 options of revised quarantine and isolation regulations, as well as the state's 3-phase plan for a COVID-19 vaccine rollout, which could begin as early as this month.
And the vaccine rollout plan has been put in place, and it's going to be a 3-phased vaccine approach. What that means for everybody is in Phase 1, clinical and non-clinical healthcare workers and direct people involved in COVID are going to be vaccinated first. Long-term care facilities will be second. Police, fire, emergency, medical services third. Congregate care settings, home-based healthcare workers doing non-COVID facing care are all going to be in Phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be individuals with 2 comorbidities, which is for high risk for COVID-19 complications. That could be congestive heart failure, high blood pressure, obesity. There is a list of them. If you go onto the Town of Westford website COVID-19 page, I've already put the link up, which will get you to what those comorbidities are.
Great.
You're probably going to want to talk to your primary care provider on what your comorbidities would be that would put you into that category, and that would determine when you can get that vaccine. Additionally, in Phase 2, it's going to be early education, K through 12, transit, grocery, utility, food and agriculture, sanitation, public works, public health workers, adults over 65, and individuals with 1 comorbidity will be the bottom of Phase 2. Phase 3 is going to be general public, anybody who didn't fit into Phase 1 and 2.
To watch the entire interview with Stevens, visit WestfordCAT.org. For WestfordCAT, I'm Patty Stocker.
The September jobless rate was a hopeful 6.9% in Massachusetts, down from 16.1% in July, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. It was the highest unemployment rate in the country, and food pantries were being taxed by the burgeoning needs. I sat down on December 8th with Tim Baker, president of the Westford Food Pantry, to ask why there's been no uptick in food pantry clients in Westford, so different from other areas of the country.
We actually are seeing, a slight increase. I will say that our levels are pretty comparable to where they've been over the last few months. We've kind of expected a higher demand as we get into the holidays, but we haven't really seen that materialize at this point yet. We do anticipate the need will continue to grow as we get past the holidays into January and February, into the dead of winter months.
Baker praised Westford residents for their generosity toward the food pantry and its partners, the Cameron Senior Center and St. Vincent de Paul. The pantry is a 501c3 volunteer-run organization. It depends on the generosity of others to keep it funded, Baker added. Since the pandemic began, Baker has been operating the pantry with a skeletal crew of 12 or so volunteers to reduce the risk of exposure. The team is not presently in need of more volunteers, he said.
The nice part is we have a great support from the community. Our monetary donations and our food donations have been very strong, thanks to the community. So we are well equipped to support people as they come into the pantry.
The Westford Food Pantry is open from 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesdays and from 9 to 11 a.m. on Fridays at the Cameron Senior Center, 20 Pleasant Street, Westford. Speaking of the food pantry, the Community Christmas Chorus is collecting canned goods and non-perishable items for the Westford Food Pantry. The group of choral singers has been running this food drive to benefit the pantry since 2006. If you would like to donate money or a gift card, visit westfordfoodpantry.org. That's it for now, Westford. We leave you with scenes from the tree lighting ceremony in late November. Finish up that holiday shopping. I'm Joyce Polino Crane, and you're watching WestfordCAT News.